Om Sang Saraswati Namaha Namaste. Tonight we're going to talk about Prana Pratishtha as we have established the Devi here in our hearts, sitting in the center of our yantra. Now we're going to enliven her and empower her. So we're going to, as we've empowered and established the life force in the pot, in the same way, this container of consciousness, this anga of the Devi, is going to become empowered and enlivened, and with the establishment of the life force within the container. So we're going to take our flower. Can I borrow one of your flowers? Thank you. And we're on page 212. The mantra says, Om Angang Ring Rong Yang Rong Long Wong Shang Sung Sung Om Mong Sa Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Kibiche Prana Gia Prana. And instead of blowing out towards the pot, we're going to inhale in and put the prana into the container. Om Ang Ring Rong Yang Rong Long Wang Stang Shang Sang Om Wang Sa Om Eng Ring Ling Chamunda Kibiche Jiva Yastita. Om Ang Ring Rong Yang Rong Long Wang Sang Shang Sang Om Wang Sa Om Eng Ring Ling Chamunda Kibiche Sarvendriyaning. Om Ang Ring Rong Yang Rong Long Wang Shang Sang Sang Among Sang Ming Ring Kling Chamunda Kibichi Bong Bog Manas Twachokchas Rotra Grana Prana Giyagat Yang Sukang Chirang Tishtantu Swa. And you can put the flower on the altar. And then comes Karanyas and Anga Nyas. And we talked about Anga last night. Om Rang Angus the Byang Dama, Om Ring Tarjani Byang Swaha, Om Rung Madaba Byam Boshat, Om Ring Anabika Byangum, Om Rong Kanishtika Byam Boshat, Om Rakarotokar Prishta Byam Astraya Pat. Om Ring Kling Chamunda Kiviche with Hatma Mudra again. Om Rang Rita Kaidmo, Om Ring Siro Sva, Om Rung Shikaya Kivasat, Om Ring Kabachaya Kum, Om Rong Nitra Draka Boshat, Om Rakrota Kaprishta Bangastraya Pat. Om Ring Kling Chamunda Kiviche. And now comes 108 times japa. And at this point, I usually perform 10 malas. But you can choose, according to your time and according to the circumstances, how much time you have to perform the puja. This is a wonderful place to go into deep, deep meditation. The first thing I'd like to share with you again is just to remind you of the Kara Mala, because this mala that we wear, although it's a very, very handy tool, especially while doing japa and counting mantras at the fire, where your right hand is busy making offerings and your left hand is busy counting the mantras. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Kiviche. And then you can move the one bead for each mantra. When we're sitting at the altar, there's no need to touch any foreign object which is gross to the touch. So we use the Karamala instead. And the middle space on the ring finger is number 1. The lower space is number 2. The lower space on the baby finger is 3. In the middle of the pinky finger is 4. The tip of the pinky finger is 5. The space on the tip of the ring finger is 6. The space on the tip of the middle finger is 7. The space in the middle of the middle finger is 8. The space at the base of the ring finger is 9. The space at the base of the pointer is 10. And we exclude these 2 because they're the ones that point to you. And if there's a you, there must be a me. The objective of the exercise is to lose the me. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now that's on the right hand. On the left hand, that's 1 times 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 3 times 10, 4 times 10, 5 times 10, 6 times 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 times 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 108. And if you want to complete, just go ahead and go around one more time. There is no harm in giving more. The only difficulty is if we give less. So don't hesitate to give a little extra. Bakshish. So now let's talk a little bit about pranayama. This is a wonderful opportunity to perform pranayama. The classic pranayama is 1 inhalation, 4 retention, 2 exhalation. So it's the 1-4-2 syndrome. And what we say is, Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Eviche. 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 And the last 2, exhaling. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Eviche. 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 And I also want to remind you that there are 3 methods of pronouncing the mantra. The first is called shabda. Shabd means sound, where we audibly pronounce the mantra. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Eviche. The second is called pumps, meaning lips. We only lip sync the mantra. And the third is called manas. Now we begin our practice with shabda. Orally, audibly pronouncing the mantras, and the mantra becomes more quiet and more quiet until we move the lips. Enter into the subtle body of sound where you can only hear it inside. And when that becomes so strong and intense as though it were our only reality, we move into manas puja, where we just hear the mantra. The mantra is making japa of us. We are no longer making japa of the mantra. And oftentimes in manas japa, we enter into japa jap. And japa jap means japa, recitation of mantras without counting. Japa jap. The japa is making japa of us, rather than we counting how many times we recite the mantra. The mantra becomes mantrayate, that which takes away the mind, and we lose our minds. And that's where the proverb came from. Some people are good for some things, other people are good for other things. Sadhus are good for nothing. They've lost their minds because they become so efficient in japa that they enter into japa japa. And they've lost their mind. The mantra has taken away the mind. So we'll pronounce the mantra 108 times, or any multiple thereof that we choose, whether it be 5 malas or 10 malas, or sometimes we do more, until we meditate upon the presence of the deity within. Now remember the 5 aspects of puja: preparation, purification, invitation, union. And this is the process of union. The nyasas and the japa bring us into the union with the deity. And when we feel her presence inside, we continue to meditate on her being there. And then comes sthapana, the establishment upon the yantra. We take our flower and we put it on the asana, right in front of the heart, where she's sitting inside. And we say, Om Ambe Ambike Ambalike Namana Yati Kaschana Shasasta Swaka Subhadrikam Kampi Lobasinim. And we put the prana from the inside onto the flower. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shivadatri Swaha Swada Namostute. And we put that flower in the center of the yantra, right on top of all the flowers of the Sarvatabhadra Mandala Devata, on top of all the 64 yoginis, right in the middle of the center of the yantra, the centerpiece of our attention. And we perform another form of the Upasanghar mantra, where you take your left palm facing forward and your right palm facing backward, and interlace the fingers and bring them very close to your heart, up to your forehead. Durgang Shivang Shantikaring Brahmaning Brahmana Priyam Sarvaloka pranetrincha. Pranamami sadashivam. And feel the energy pouring out from the left palm right onto the flower. Point that left palm right to the flower. Sarvaloka pranetrincha. Pranamami sadashivam. We make pranam. And now we're going to do a second set of Avahani mudras. Avahani Om Ring Chandike Ihagacha Ihatishta Stapani Sandidapani Ihasani Hitababa Sangrodani Athradishta Nankaru Praksham Devi Mama Pujangrihana Devi Bhakta Shulabe Paritrana Karaite Jabo Tvam Pujayishami Tabo Tvam Sustira Baba. I bow to you. Let's go back and read the English and translate what we've been doing. Let's start with the Prana Pratishtha on page 212. Om, the infinite beyond conception, creation, the first letter, consciousness, Maya, the cause of the movement of the subtle body to perfection and beyond, the path of fulfillment, control, subtle illumination, one with the earth, emancipation, the soul of peace, the soul of delight, the soul of unity. All this is I, perfection, infinite consciousness. I am this. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Gebiche. You are the life of this life. Om, the infinite beyond conception, creation, the first letter, consciousness, Maya, the cause of the movement of the subtle body to perfection and beyond, the path of fulfillment, control, subtle illumination, one with the earth, emancipation, the soul of peace, the soul of delight, the soul of unity. All this is I, perfection, infinite consciousness. I am this. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Gibiche. You are situated in this life or individual consciousness. Om, the infinite beyond conception, creation, the first letter, consciousness, Maya, the cause of the movement of the subtle body to perfection and beyond, the path of fulfillment, control, subtle illumination, one with the earth, emancipation, the soul of peace, the soul of delight, the soul of unity. All this is I, perfection, infinite consciousness. I am this. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Gibiche. You are all these organs of action and knowledge. Remember the 5 organs of knowledge, the 5 senses, the 5 organs of action, the upper appendages, the lower appendages, the tongue, it moves, reproduction, and the anus. Om, the infinite beyond conception, creation, the first letter, consciousness, Maya, the cause of the movement of the subtle body to perfection and beyond, the path of fulfillment, control, subtle illumination, one with the earth, emancipation, the soul of peace, the soul of delight, the soul of unity. All this is I, perfection, infinite consciousness. I am this. Om Eng Ring Kling Chamunda Gebiche. You are all these vibrations, the mind, the sound, eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and life forth. Bring forth infinite peace and establish it forever. I am one with God. Om Rong in the thumb I bow. Om Ring in the forefinger, I am one with God. Om Rum in the middle finger, purify. Om Ring in the ring finger, cut the ego. Om Rom in the little finger, ultimate purity. And rolling our hands, hand over hands, forwards and backwards while reciting Karoltokar, Prishtabhyang, Astraya, Pat. Ahra, I bow to the goddess with the weapon of virtue. Every time I act in a virtuous manner, I am bowing to you. Om Rang, in the heart I bow. Om Ring, in the top of the head I am one with God. Om Rung, on the back of the head purify. Om Ring, crossing both arms, cut the ego. Om Rom, in the three eyes, ultimate purity. Om Ra, I bow to the goddess with the weapon of virtue. Roll your hand over hand, forward and back, and clap. Om Ing Ring Kling Chamunda Keviche. And now we perform our japa. Now, we're going to establish that life force. We've got it inside us. Now let's take it out, put it onto the flower, take it into the flower and hold it in an asana. Mother of the perceivable universe, mother of the conceivable universe, mother of the universe of intuitive vision, lead me to that true existence. As excellent crops or grains are harvested, so may I be taken to reside with the infinite consciousness. And I place you on the yantra. She who conquers over all auspicious, she who is beyond time, the excellent one beyond time, the bearer of the skulls of impure thought, the reliever of difficulties, loving forgiveness, supporter of the universe, oblations of I am one with God, oblations of ancestral praise, to you we bow down. The reliever of difficulties, exposer of goodness, cause of peace, infinite consciousness, beloved by knowers of consciousness. All the inhabitants of all the worlds always bow to her, and I am bowing to goodness herself. And now, Avahon. Take both thumbs in Tattva Mudra at the space of the ring finger, and hold them to yourself and fold your fingers over. Make fists with your thumbs enclosed. Ring. I'm pulling the energy down. Bringing it down. Ring Chandikei Agacha Maya. And the energy which tears apart thought. I invite you, please come. Turn it upside down. Staponi. Ihatishta, I establish you within. Here you are, right there on that flower, on top of the 64 yoginis, on top of the 57 devatas of the Sarvabhadra Mandala Devata, on top of the 30 points, of the 36 points, and 37 points of the yantra, on top of the yantra, which is on top of the altar. I establish you within. Mother Sanidapani, I know you have many devotees who are requesting your attention, but I request that you pay special attention to me. You bestow abundant wealth, and some Rodani, just turn them upside down. I'm sorry for any inconvenience this may cause you, but I'm your kid. I have a right to inconvenience you a little bit. I'm doing it with greatest of sincerity. So please, I'm depending on you to forgive me in this matter. Kripya. Forgive me. Komokoro. I bow to you with devotion, prakshan. O Goddess, please accept my worship. O Goddess, remove all pain from your devotees. For so long as I worship you, you please remain sitting still. If you won't go, I won't go. And that's the deal. You just sit there still. And allow me the privilege of doing the same. And now we have her established on the yantra, which affords us a whole new avenue of worship. Because she is sitting close to us on the altar, we don't have to break our asana in order to offer to her. Every offering that we would make to the deities, rather than standing up and physically handing them the offering, we can put on the flower of the yantra. And thereby, we do the whole puja in one asana. And that is a major accomplishment to bring her even closer where we can worship her right here. Do we have any questions so far? Please, go ahead.
Well, Swami, it seems like one of the things we're doing here is obviously pulling her so close to us that we don't have to move, right? I mean, it's like...
Absolutely.
And this is why we're doing it. I mean, the purpose of... People keep on asking the purpose of puja, and one of the reasons that we do this is so that we can bring her right up to us and experience her right without even having to move, like you say. It's amazing.
Yes. And empowering. Because she's inside, she's outside, she's in the deity, she's on the flower on top of the yantra. I can make my offerings just like this without moving my knees, because so long as my knees are in one position, I'm not going to get in any more trouble. I can only get in trouble when I move my knees. Otherwise, I'm safe. Other questions, please.
On page 218.
Yes.
Durgam Shivam Shanti.
Yes.
Could you please show the mantra again and describe again the process of what you're doing when you're in this mudra?
Okay, the first one, Jayanti Mangala Kali, or the first one, Ambe Ambike Ambalike, she's sitting on the asan. And I blow all the prana that I took in, I put out onto the flower. The second one, Jayanti Mangala Kali, I take her out and I put her on the yantra. And the third one, I make a second form of Upasanghar mudra by interlacing my fingers and straightening my left elbow so that all the prana comes out of the palm of my left hand. You'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, and the thumbs. It may take a few days. And I bring it up and put it down and point it directly at the flower so that all the energy coming out of my left palm is going right into that flower. Durgam Shivam Shanti Karing Brahmaning Brahmana Prikyam Sarvaloka Pranetrincha Pranamami Sadasivam Mangalam Shobhanam Shuddham Nishkalam Paramankalam Vishweshwari Vishwamata Chandikam Pranamamyaham. And then we rotate our fingers and begin the mudra series. Avahon, Stapon, Sanidaponi, Sanrodani, Prakshan. These are the mudras to establish below on the yantra. The other mudras, Avahon, Stapon, Sanidapon, Rodani, are to establish within the worshipper. So 2 sets of mudras with the same names. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Are there other questions?
Swamiji, this is from people who are viewing.
Yes.
I was wondering why the Kara and anga nyas are done with Hrim mantra instead of the Navarna Mantra.
The Mool mantra of the goddess is Hrim, and all of her worship can be performed with Hrim. It comes from the Devi Gita. We could use the Navarna Mantra, but it's not necessary. We can also perform all the worship with Hrim. So here, in order to simplify things, we use Hrim as the Mool mantra of the Devi. Yes, the other form of upasanghar is this.
And you had said that we do this to ask the gods to assemble.
To assemble. That's right.
What is this? So over here?
We are assembling all the energies into one point of focus. Upasanghar, we are establishing this energy in one point of focus. Here we're assembling the energies into one congregation. And here we are establishing that congregation of energies into the point of one pointed focus, which is the flower upon the yantra. Please.
When you said that we can do, when we do japa,
Yes.
classic pranayama,
Yes.
1, 4, 2.
Yes.
When we do that, will we do that in our mind?
Yes.
Manas.
Manas. Or we can keep count in our mind. So if you can use any multiple of 1, 4, 2, for example, 2, 8, 4, you could use 4, 16, 8, but you want to maintain the direct ratio of 1, 4, 2. So it doesn't have to be specifically 1, 4, 2. It can be any multiple of 1, 4, 2, and then you will maintain the classic ratio of pranayama. Yes, please.
That increasing of the ratio, staying within the ratio but increasing the numbers, does that give anything more than the 1, 4, 2? I mean,
No. It gives you a longer kumbhak.
So that's something to work towards.
Yes, it is. So if you do 1, 4, 2, or 2, 4, 2, 8, 4, or 4, 16, 8, what happens is the space between the prana and the apana, the inhalation and the exhalation, becomes longer and longer and longer. And we say that's called the kumbhak. Purak is inhalation, kumbhak, retention, rechak, expulsion or exhalation. So now the objective is to make the kumbhak longer and longer and longer. Now the space between two thoughts is called samadhi. The space between two breaths is called kumbhak. The longer we stay in kumbhak, the greater is our propensity, our capacity to enter into samadhi. And that's how it works. Are there other questions, please?
Swami, can you do the pranayama with any of the 3 different breaths?
Yeah, with any of the 3 different recitations. Yes, absolutely. And what's a very fun way to do it is to inhale silently, because it's difficult to pronounce while you're inhaling. And to use your kumbhak silently. And to pronounce audibly, shabda, when you perform rechak. Om ing ring kling chamundaki biche, om ing ring kling chamundaki biche. If I do the entire process, it will look like this. Om ing ring kling chamundaki biche, om ing ring kling chamundaki biche. Om ing ring kling chamundaki biche, om ing ring kling chamundaki biche.
There's a question from Kala Chandra.
Yes?
He's asking, can we do Prana Pratishtha in Puja beginner?
Absolutely. The pujas are constructed as modules. So you can take any series of vidhis and place them inside in the framework of the other pujas. And it's a wonderful way to expand your puja. You just take a portion from the cosmic puja and add it to the beginner's puja. Or you take a portion from the Shiva advanced puja and add it into the Shiva beginner's puja. Or you can mix and match and put the beginner's Shiva puja and the beginner's Durga puja together and expand them modularly. So don't worry about it. These are how pujas are constructed, by adding one vidhi next to the other vidhi, next to the other vidhi, and always inserting something new.
Some more questions.
Yeah, please.
Kumari,
Yes.
what is the purpose and significance of mudras? Are they necessary to please the goddess?
Yes, the mudras are very, very efficient tools. Every time we place our fingers in a certain position and we assume a certain attitude which is indicated by that position. And so we make a correspondence between the motor movements of our body and the mental movements of our mind. Every time we assume a position, we think about the meaning of the position and assume the attitude. It's just like when you wear a certain type of dress. If you wear a certain uniform, you immediately assume the authority of that uniform. If you wear a very fancy dress or a tuxedo or a ball gown, you hold yourself regally and assume the attitude of the dress that you're wearing for that special occasion. In the same way, every time we perform a certain mudra, we assume the attitude of that mudra, and we recite the mantras that go along, correspond to that mudra, and define the attitude of the mudra, and we become one in body, mind, and soul. Yes, please.
Iha sanihita bhava.
Yes.
Mother bestows abundant wealth.
Yes.
What is the form of this wealth that she bestows to us?
Ashtanidhi. She gives the wealth of peace. She is Shrim, she is Shanti in your mind and in your heart, and the perfect peace. She sits on the lotus of peace. She gives the wealth of realization. She gives the wealth of the increased desire to perform her worship with the greatest efficiency. These are the forms of wealth that she bestows. If you want other wealth, go ahead and worship her and then go out in the world and do what you have to do. But if you want the wealth of a sadhu, become efficient at worshiping her with all your love and all your heart, and she gives you more devotion. And then you pray for devotion. And then she gives you more devotion. And every time she asks you what you want, it becomes instinctive nature to you to say, hey, Mom, I'd like some more devotion. So you define the wealth that you want, and she will present it to you according to your definition.
We have a follow-up question.
Please.
About the mudra. So after listening to your explanation, they say, as far as a mudra is concerned, does that mean the body influences the mind?
Absolutely. The body influences the mind as well as the mind influences the body. They work together in a harmony. The gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. They're all three being affected on every level, all simultaneously. For example, when my body assumes the position or the posture of an asana, I think about limiting the movement that I'm going to make. I am restricting my interaction. That everything that I will touch will be in the paradigm or in the periphery of my asana. My body has restricted my mind. But my mind said, okay, body, it's time to sit in the asana. My mind restricted the body. So the same with my fingers. If I restrict my fingers, I show wisdom, I show the teaching, I show meditation. Every mudra has a different meaning and a different attitude, and thereby my mind and my body come into a harmony in the action. And that's the efficacy of assuming the mudra positions. We understand the meaning of the mudras, we understand the mantras that correspond to the mudras, and our minds restrict our bodies. The restriction of our body cultivates a habit in our mind to think in this way. So they're very important. Yes, go Tom.
It sounds like this is re-recognition of the fact that anything that we can do to increase the amount of time in that state of oneness is valid, and it can be any tool that we have been given by Mount Swamiji. Any tool.
Well, by others as well. But yes, any tool that we can use. We have a sadhu tool chest. And with all these tools in our tool chest, our objective we have defined, our sankalpa, is peace in the heavens and peace on earth and peace upwards, over and around and through. Peace to be to us, and peace be to all creation. And now, how do we stay in that peace? The objective is to stay in that peace, to amplify the peace, to expand the peace, to share the peace. And therein reside all the other qualities of love and devotion and wisdom. Along with that peace, obviously, all the divine qualities are present. So now here we have that peace. Now, how do we stay there longer and make it grow and give it away and share it and give it to the gods and give it to humanity? And become a messenger between gods and human beings. Can become an emissary of God to all of life. And make that our primary occupation. That's the issue. Now open up your tool chest and see what you have. You have asana, pranayama, mudras, kriyas, mantras. You have the worship of the yantra. You have the worship of the divine fire. You have the establishment of the pot. We have so many tools, vidhis, in the series of puja. And we continually expand on it. So we can stay longer and longer. And share it with greater intensity. And rise and rise and rise. Are there other questions? Please.
So the flower, they're saying the flower was placed on the yantra for all these objects. When the Prana Pratishtha was done, we want clarification.
Yes.
And then for all the objects that we do Prana Pratishtha to, do we need to do Visarjan?
For all the objects that we do Prana Pratishtha to. Yes, we will make Visarjan of the Prana Pratishtha according to our sankalpa. So if you establish the yantra every day, you make Visarjan of the Prana Pratishtha flower that sits upon the yantra. If you establish a koilash or pot every day, you can make Visarjan of the pot every day. Now, we in the Devi Mandir have a sankalpa for a Sahasra Chandi Yagya. So our main pot is sitting here on the altar for 1,000 days. And that will remain there for 1,000 days. However, every Lakshmi Puja, we establish a new pot for Lakshmi. Every Saraswati Puja, we establish a new pot for Saraswati, etc., etc. And we make Visarjan of the old pot at that time. Although, in Manas Puja, I perform the entire Kailash Sthapana every day, so that I recite all the mantras for the establishment of the pot every day, and the Prana Pratishtha of the pot every day, but I don't physically build a new pot. I leave the old pot upon the altar, and at the time of the sankalpa, I make the sergeant of that pot, and then establish a new one. So each of us, these are technical points, each of us will find our own rhythm that works for us according to the amount of time that we have. But my advice to everyone in our family is, please don't spend so much time looking for coconuts and looking for new pots and procuring items of worship. Learn the mantras and learn the mudras, and the items themselves will appear magically. Somehow all the articles necessary for the worship will come to you when you practice the mantras. The items will automatically come without any difficulty, without any effort. If you spend your time wandering around the marketplace looking for the items and saying, I can't do puja because I don't have a coconut, you'll never learn the mantra. But if you recite the mantra for the coconut every day, somehow a coconut will appear. And I can attest to that. I haven't purchased a coconut in a long time. And every day I sit down and there's a coconut there. Yes, please, go Tom.
Just an aside, but I remember in the daily minor since way back that Swami would, when there were no flowers, use what was at hand, like leaves from a tree.
Yes.
And it just reminds me that it doesn't have to be the actual object. I mean, it could be like manas, even if he didn't mean anything, but that's an advanced stage, right?
Well, first we'll want to learn the mantras audibly,
yes,
so that we can pronounce them.
Right.
When we get comfortable pronouncing them, then we can and when we are really efficient, we could close our eyes and listen to the puja. In the Chandi, in the 12th chapter, it says, whoever hears this worship, whoever hears this Chandi pot, they will be blessed. Doesn't say much about the people who recite it. It talks about the people who listen to it. So the object, wisdom, is a function of the ear, not of the tongue. The wise are good listeners, not necessarily good speakers. That's what separates the preachers from the practitioners. Preachers can give a good dissertation, but practitioners are too busy practicing to talk about it.
There are two more questions.
Please.
One is, there are two avahans.
Yes.
What is the difference?
One avahan, I am inviting you to take your seat inside me, and I'm establishing you within. The second avahan is, I've already worshipped you inside. I'm taking you out of my heart and putting you on a flower. And I'm putting that flower on the asan, and I'm saying, okay, sit here. Be here. I'm establishing you on the yantra. Those are the two avahans. We will have the same thing when we worship at the fire. First, we will invite her to come inside, and then we'll take her outside and put her in the fire and make avahan again.
One more question is, what is the exact pronunciation of Hring? Is it like ring?
That's a fun question, because if you read our pronunciation book, we gave quite a dissertation on the different styles of chanting around India. Primarily, there are 3 schools, although there's a different dialect every 10 kilometers. And it's very, very funny. I'll tell you one little story of my own experience. For some years, I did sadhana in Bokreshwar, which is a very small village in the interior of West Bengal, very close to the Bihar border. And about 5 kilometers away was the village of Tantipara. And Tantipara had a hut. They had a market every Thursday. And on Thursdays, sometimes I needed more supplies and vegetables and things like that. I would go it was 5 kilometers, I would walk to the market at Tantipara. And I would go to the market, to all the shopkeepers, and invariably someone would call out, "Is there anyone here from Bokreshwar? I can't understand a word this man is saying." 5 kilometers! I'm speaking pure Bengali! So, in the north, the main center, of course, is Benares. And in the east, the main center is near to Kolkata, named Burdwan. That's the intellectual center, the University of Burdwan. And in the south is Pune. And Pune pronounces Hrim. And Benares pronounces Hring. And Burdwan pronounces Hring. And between the 3 major centers, you're going to find so many variations in the syllable aim. In the south, in the north is aim. And in the east is ing. So there are many, many letters. Traditionally, of course, Devanagari is the name of the alphabet in which Sanskrit is written. But Sanskrit is very rarely taught in Devanagari. If you go to Tamil Nadu, they teach in Tamili letters. And if you go to West Bengal, they teach in Bengali letters. And there are very few Bengali or Tamil pundits who actually read Devanagari. So they pronounce the Sanskrit as they would pronounce their local language. For example, in Bengali, there is no letter ksha. It's ka. Do you know, when I got to Assam, very, very interesting story. The cha in Sanskrit is pronounced as a sha. Very, very, there are a number of anomalies like that. But the cha. So I went and I asked for the city bus. And they said, "You mean the shitty bus?" And when I got on the bus, I understood that was the shittiest bus I was ever on. All over Assam, I got on the shitty bus. It really was. Are there other questions?
Yes, Swamiji. So, does that mean the mantras don't really matter because of the different dialects?
No, they do matter. And if you want to learn correct Sanskrit, you come to the Devi Mandir. There is no question. We will teach you in the Devi Mandir the correct dialect. Everybody else speaks a village dialect. Devi Mandir speaks pure Sanskrit. But actually, as you wander around India, every village you go to and every temple you go to will say the same thing. So do the best you can. Realize this is a means of communication between you and God. Follow the example of your gurus and don't worry about it. Be free. This is an exercise in attaining freedom, not bondage. We're not scholars. We're not professors. We're not trying to be pundits and out-pundit the next pundit. We just want to be devotees and lovers of God. These are beautiful ways of becoming devotees. These are means of expression of our devotion. Follow it to the best of your ability and be free and be happy. Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.